Saphir Omnidaim Suede Cleaner is a gentle suede, nubuck, and textile cleaner intended to remove soiling from these very delicate materials. The manufacturer, Saphir, began in 1920 in Faverges, France, making leather care products. They've grown over decades into an international brand, now based in the Charente area of southwestern France. And let's look at the product. The Saphir Omnidaim Suede Cleaner's key ingredients likely include solvents and surfactants. Surfactants help decrease surface tension to make the cleaning process easier. They claim to use an exclusive mixture of solvents and a base cleaner, with each ingredient working on different types of stains and dirt, while also mentioning organic ingredients provide the basis for our leather care range. We do not use embedded resin, silicone, or synthesized compounds. So while that sounds good, a little more transparency into the actual formulation would be great. So let's check out exactly what tools we'll need and then get into the step-by-step cleaning process. First is a series of brushes. Now this brush is a combination one that has 4 combined into one. We have 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we're going to explain what each of these do, and then you can decide if you want to get a universal brush like this, or if you want to get individual brushes for each of these functions. So the first one is going to be this rubber crepe brush. And it's a pretty durable rubber. You can see it doesn't move too much when we're pressing it. And this is going to be for surface stains. So for example, if we had a stain on here, we'd be able to use this and start to remove some of those, tougher, gunked up stains. That's going to be step 1. It's going to be a multi-step process. If you have a nubuck, for example, stains on nubuck shoes, then this gum brush can be used. And it's a very dense gum-like material, and that would essentially be used to rub off, tough stains, gunk and buildup. Anything that's above the fibers, you could use that gum brush, especially on nubuck, to help get those out. We also have a white plastic brush right here. This is going to be for loosening and removing larger dirt particles and debris. So if we had, dirt on here, would want to brush this off first, and doing it gently, because remember, all these are still exposed fibers. So make sure even that your, plastic brush is very gentle, and if possible, maybe even use a natural bristle brush instead of that. For example, we have here a horsehair brush, and see if that may even work gently enough where you don't even need a plastic brush. Next up, we have our brass brush. This is going to be very rough, and you really don't want to use this directly on the fibers. This is going to be mainly for, if you have shoes and like a hard leather edge or a, rubber or plastic sole edge, that's what this is going to be good for. More on that synthetic material, but not really on the leather. So of these things here, you'd have primarily this crepe brush for suede and nubuck stains, this gum brush for nubuck specific stains, and then these two are kind of rough and mostly for footwear, where you will be cleaning the suede with these, but also want to use these to remove some other dirt on the shoe. And that's because we're going to use mainly our natural bristle horsehair brush, which is a lot softer, and that would be primarily used, 1, as a dry method to remove anything that's on there. And then 2, we'll look shortly, we're using it with the actual cleaner itself, where this brush will get wet, and then we'll apply the cleaner to the suede. And then another element is that you typically want to use a distilled water. And that's because tap water can have minerals in it. Even though they're micro and very, very diluted, they can get into your leather. So whenever possible, if you're doing leather cleaning where you really care about the result, use distilled water. That will have most of the minerals and other impurities removed. So now let's walk through step by step how to use this really popular cleaner, the Saphir Omnidaim. It's for suede and nubuck, and we're going to show it today on suede. With that, we're going to use this rubber crepe brush for surface stains. We're going to use this horsehair brush for removing debris and then for cleaning. And then here we have 2 samples of suede. This one's already dirty, and this one is going to be representative of our clean result. And the dirty one has a lot of debris on there, some dirt and grime. So I wanted to get it as a good example so you could see how each of these tools works close up. We also have the solution pre-mixed. Generally it goes in a ratio of 1 to 3. So 1 part of the cleaner to 3 parts water. So we've got that here pre-mixed in a bowl. And then we also have a bowl of water so that we could use that for the cleaning second step. So with everything gathered together, let's start cleaning. So the first thing we'll do is we'll take our soiled suede, and we're going to take our horsehair brush and just brush away this larger debris. We want to be as gentle as can be. Kind of get that off of there. That's a good start. So now we're kind of only dealing with things that have made it into the fibers and not all of this stuff that's on top that could actually make cleaning more difficult. So if you look here, now we have a much better looking piece of suede, but we still have some work to do. So our next step is we're going to use this gum brush and just see if there's any big stains on there that we could start to kind of move out a little bit. We don't want to push too hard and damage the fibers because, again, even though we're cleaning them, they're all still exposed. And any kind of, pressure or abrasions, can damage them. So we're going to do this like that. If there was a concentrated stain in a particular area, you'd very gently kind of rub this over that area as you go. So now we're looking pretty good. We have most of the big stuff removed. There's no major stains, still there or any kind of gunky buildup. So the next thing we're going to do is take our brush again, that's still dry, and just raise the nap with our brush. You can see based on the color changes which direction is raising the nap. So we're going to do that because that's going to expose those fibers, have them all stand up, and then it'll receive the cleaner a lot better. Another thing to keep in mind too is quality of tools. You could probably see even from this gentle rubbing, some of the bristles are coming out of this brush. And it's the basic brush that comes with the cleaner, so it's not going to be the super top end brush. So just keep that in mind. Maybe if you're going to be doing this a lot, invest just a little more in a quality brush. That'll help make this job probably a little easier and maybe even give you some better results. So now we're ready to actually apply the cleaner. So we're going to take the cleaner here. So what I'll do is I have this top of the cleaning container, and I'll put that underneath our leather material just to give us a little room to work and not get the workspace messy. If you're cleaning something, likely it's going to be a lot larger than this, so you'll put something down to make sure you have a clean covered workspace. So then we will take our brush and we'll dip it in here in the cleaner and just get some cleaner on it. And again, we mix that with the cleaner and the water, and then we'll take this and we'll go right over to our suede, and we're going to start to just rub it in gently. And periodically we'll dip in and get some more of the mixture on our brush, and then we'll just kind of rub it in here. You want to be gentle with all this, kind of almost like dab more than rub, because even though we're cleaning it, those fibers are all still exposed and very delicate. And also when you're cleaning suede or nubuck, you're generally going to want to clean all of it at the same time, because once you do clean a part of it, those fibers will likely be a little bit of a different color, potentially lighter, potentially darker. than what is around it. So to keep things uniform, it's usually gonna give good results to clean everything that's visible. And that way you're in good shape. So we do that. And that now has our cleaner in there. And so the next thing we're gonna do is we're going to take our bowl that's got pure water in it. This is gonna be our distilled water. And we're going to, actually, here's what we're gonna do. So the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna rinse out our brush, and then we're gonna use it with our water to rinse out the cleaner. So I've just rinsed out that brush, and also, as an alternative, you could have two brushes. One that you're gonna use only for the cleaning solution, and then one that you're gonna use only for, the water solution. Up to you. I rinsed this out in between. So now we're gonna dip it into our distilled water. And the goal is to also, again, gently, just kind of go in here into our suede and just kind of gently rinse out the cleaner. And we want to do this until like no suds form and it looks like most of that cleaner is out. And in terms of getting it wet, you don't want to get it like super, super, super wet, though it's not going to, if treated properly, it's really not going to do much harm if it's cleaned properly. So, I mean, clearly this is saturated with water, so it's not a terrible, terrible thing. If you're using different types of cleaners or, depending on the quality and or composition of your suede, it may vary. And that's why most leather products always say, test in an inconspicuous area. And it's not because they're just trying to cover themselves and be like, hey, it's on you. In part, it is, but more so than that, it's that there are so many different compositions of leather, some that seem real that aren't, some that are synthetic, some that are natural, different tanning processes. So it really is difficult, if not reasonably impossible, to know exactly how a cleaner is going to respond to every type of leather out there, because there's probably thousands of combinations. And so that's why, even if someone doesn't know what type of leather, they have, they can still test in a small inconspicuous area, and that'll be a really good indicator on if it will be a good cleaner to use or not. All right, so there we go. We have our cleaner's been applied. We've rinsed it out with water, and now we have our clean piece of suede. And you can see here, it is looking pretty good compared to what it was. And then if we look at what a, clean piece of suede would be, it's going to look like this. So here's how we started. Let me flip it around. Well, we started with a very dirty one, but it was like this, then it got dirty. Here's how it is clean and wet. So at this point, it's going to take probably around 6 hours, if not more. Generally recommend to leave it overnight, at least 12 to 24 hours for this to really dry out. So after that, we're going to let that dry. And so here's an example of, a dried piece already. You'll take your horsehair brush, and it should be dry at this point. If not, you may have an additional brush just like it you could use for this. And essentially we're going to find and then raise the nap. There we go. I think it goes about that way. Yep. And then this is going to raise those fibers up, which will make them more receptive to anything else that we put in them. All right, now we've got that. So at this point, we have clean suede or Nubuck. And you might want to add a conditioner or a waterproofer or other surface protectant depending on what your care regimen is for your product. Because we have this as clean and the nap and the fibers are raised up, they're going to be able to receive that product really well. So if you've got a very quality suede conditioner, if you've got a quality waterproofer that's intended for suede, or any kind of another protectant, you can just apply that as per those instructions, and then that'll be the next step for making your leather ready to go. And that's it. Clean suede. It's really an easy process. Once you do it a couple times, it'll just become routine. The Saphir Omnidaim is an excellent product for cleaning suede, and is definitely worth checking out if you're interested in a product like this. And you're all set. If you have a question, let us know. If you have experience to share or tips, we'd love to hear it. And there you have it. Until next time.